Hey! Hello everyone, I think we are live right now. So, you want to go first?
Yes, I'm Cestpatou. I'm a serious and professional speedrunner of Street of Rage, and this is my partner.
I'm PlamZ. I am not a professional single-player Streets of Rage player, but I'm a professional co-op Streets of Rage player, and I'm going to try to keep up with Patrick to make sure that everything runs smoothly during this run. So we are doing Streets of Rage 1 on hardest. So this is pretty much the hardest that you can get in the game. Co-op on hardest, lots of enemy, lots of HP. So the time will start once the feet of the characters touch the ground on the first level.
We will do a countdown for you.
Yep.
And I'm playing as Axel because Blaze is the best in this game, and PlamZ, since he's the less experienced person, so he has the most powerful character, so I will play as Axel. And we don't play with Adam, just let's not talk about Adam, shall we?
He's a nice guy, but he doesn't like to fight.
So it's around 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start.
And we have started. So on the first level, we're gonna, well, that starts really bad.
Okay, let's keep going with that. Let's go.
So, on the first level, we're gonna try to have a lot of throws, as the smaller enemies are going to die really fast from getting thrown, like me throwing Patrick into them, or Patrick throwing me into them. That does a lot of damage, and is really helpful when there's a lot of enemies, as you can dispatch like a great number of enemies at the same time. So this is one of the coolest screens in the game. I know it's one of the first, but...
And it's all about trying to find positioning and throwing people off. And we just try to pivot our way to just kill all of them, like this.
So yeah, the way that the attack works in this game is that you can do a single jab by pressing the attack button, but pressing this jab will make the hitbox out for a long time, so you can actually have multiple hits on the enemies by just rotating around. So we're going to do a lot of that, and also at the same time, it does hit the enemies on both sides of you, so it's extremely important to get the consistency on that, because on hardest, you're going to get surrounded by enemies pretty much every 5 seconds.
And like you can see, the enemies deals a lot of damage, so we have to be careful with that.
Yeah, we basically die in 2 or 3 hits, so this is something that we're going to have to do a lot of cautiousness, I guess, about. So in this substage, we're going to see the first time that we're going to use the police. So the police is a special attack in Streets of Rage 1 that eliminates all enemies on screen right now. Pretty much instantly. I know it is boring, it's pretty much a side-scroller. We are ex-police officers and we can just call bazooka backups from cops, so I guess it's nice. But yeah, basically we're going to use this strat a lot because in hardest, there's so many enemies that sometimes, while it is a long thing to do to call the police to have them blast your enemies, it usually is way faster if there's a ton of enemies to just call the police and dispatch them like that. So on multiple substage, you're gonna see us try to do the safe strat, and if that the perfect strat, and if that doesn't work, we're gonna go for the backup strat, which is usually the police in a lot of substages.
And when we have time, we just have fun with each other, like you've seen earlier. I'm just throwing a knife at my partner because he has a large back.
Sometimes it will look like mistakes, but we know that we have time to just mess with each other, so it's going to happen a lot in this run. So yeah, as you can see, the basic strategy in the game is to go to the far edge of the substage and then regroup all of the enemies together to hit them like that. This is by far faster than just dealing with the enemies one after the other, because most of them appear based on the position of your character on the screen. So as long as you're going forward, you're going to spawn more enemies. So this game looks a lot like a big auto-scroller. It kind of is, and this is why we choose Blaze and Axel. I mean, I know that Ada is not a great fighter, but also the real reason we're not using it is that he doesn't have a lot of speed. So right now, my character is disappearing from the screen because the emulator, the Genesis emulator from Sega, has problems rendering the characters on screen. So when we're gonna get a lot of characters and water, a lot of particles of water usually gets the trick done.
And you will probably hear me saying some cues to my partner because this game is very long and we have to remember everything.
Yeah, so this game is not as much as a routing game as it is a backup game. It will happen that we're going to get perfect substages, but it usually happens maybe once out of 10, once out of like 5 if we're lucky and we're playing great. So all of the game is basically reliable on improv and backup strats. So you have to understand how the enemies work, how you can just get rid of them easily without causing other enemies to attack you. And it's kind of a, as I said, a big improv game more than a like just learn the game and then do it. You can learn to do all the tricks in the game in less than a day, but it's going to take you a long hours if you want to be able to beat the stage on the hardest. The game on the hardest part, I'm sorry. So you're going to see us lose a lot of life in the hardest. As you said, a lot of enemies do a great deal of damage, and some of them actually even one-shot us. So if we're not careful, we can have some of the ninjas, as you can see, later in the game, they're able to do one-shot combos. So be careful not to get hit.
And with the bosses, we will mainly use just we will mainly just flip over them and or other strategy that will work depending on which enemies you will see later with the other bosses.
As you can see, he has to fight 2 of them.
Yeah, this one is just coming at me to annoy me, and I can't do much because if he hits me, I lose grab of the boss, and we lose like 5-10 seconds. So
yeah, most of the boss, when you lose one of the strats on a boss, you're looking at a 20 second to a minute time loss. So we're gonna try to get all the boss. Sometimes we're not gonna go as fast as we could, just to make sure that we get the boss down. So on this stage, there's water, as you can see, and water particles are extremely laggy. So almost on each sub-stage of the game, we're going to see some of that lag that we saw in the earlier stages. There we go.
And the other thing is that when there's around 12 enemies, there's some enemies that are still there, not appearing. You can lose track of your character because your sprite is disappearing. So that's a very tricky on our desk.
Invisible heroes fighting invisible enemies sounds like quite of a nightmare.
Like right now, it's already laggy because of the waves.
Yeah, and this, by the way, makes the pivot attack extremely hard because it looks like I'm just like spinning the stick as fast as I can, trying to get the damages in. But if I go too fast and press the button too fast, I'm actually going to lose time because I'm going to throw the character on the ground and I'm not going to be able to stun lock it. So, oh, also, one other thing I think we didn't say. So each of the enemies that we have a specific amount of HP, and that changes based on difficulty and if it has a knife. I know it's dumb, but if it has a knife, it has a larger HP. So we have to cater the combos when we're not doing the pivots. We have to cater the combos at trying to do as little moves as possible, but still get the enemy done. So you sometimes see us grab and then do trying to hit the enemies with our knees. That does 2 damage, while the jab only does 1 damage. So, oh, there we go. Jab only does 1 damage, so depending on we're trying to remember the exact amount of HP some enemies have left, and then we have to choose based on that if it's going to be worth to do either a grab or only to jab and have the 1 damage take care of the enemies.
But obviously we try to group them and deal with them as a wall instead of...
Yeah, it's actually, it's more of a thing in the earlier difficulties in easy and normal because the enemies are so much easier to take down.
And now, since we are on the beach, we are like a little bit romantic here, and we will dance with the boss.
Yeah, it's a dance with a professional wrestler, so I know it's not the kind of dance that you were watching earlier today with Space Channel 5, but we're trying to get that and add it as spicy as possible. Okay, so this boss basically does 50% of your HP as damage as soon as he hits you. Okay, so we missed the strat on this boss. So as you can see, usually when you miss the boss, you lose. Just this boss would have been done a long time ago.
and it was mainly because of the little enemy just coming at me, and he has punched me, so I lose my grab of the boss, and it removed everything.
Yeah, and this boss is just horrible, as you can see. So
it's very difficult.
It is okay to get game overs in this game, actually, and to do continues.
Yep. It depends on how well you're consistent with the strats. And like you have seen, it's difficult.
Because also, you didn't see it yet, but there's a lot of stages in which we're going to have to take our own lives in order to do some things. Because the special police attack comes back when you lose a stock, so, when you lose a life. So sometimes it's extremely good to just lose a life on purpose and then use your police again on a more difficult screen.
And the particularity of those ladies is that their attacks are diagonally and ours are just straightforward, so they can hit us when we can't hit them. And that's a particular part that it's difficult. That's why I and my partner have been hit.
We missed a grab there, so we get a tight grab in which we have to not get hit there, but the Garcias, which is the name of the enemies that you've seen hitting us since the beginning. So the green, by the way, have 2 more HP than the blue ones, so it makes them slightly more difficult to beat. But they're not. Usually, we're happy when we see these guys because they don't have anything special. They can't hit you in a weird way. They can't interrupt your combos. They're basically like the basic enemies, the Goombas of Streets of Rage.
And the other thing is, for example, that lady. If you kill her, you will spawn that jungler. So you have particular amount of enemies or particular enemies that will spawn you others. So you have to keep track of that and keep going depending on which enemy you have to kill.
So some, as I stated earlier, some enemies will spawn based on your position on the stage, but some are based on, not on time, but on how many enemies are left, which enemies are left, where are you on the screen, and things like that.
And now I've just killed myself and called the police because there was too many enemies and we were not able to group them well, especially since there's few yellow guy here just sliding under us, and
they are the bane of my existence. They always slide under my combos.
So that's why I've killed myself just to get back my police car, and just in case we need it for later, if we miss the boss or if we miss anything else.
Okay, so this is usually an extremely hard screen. But again, I'm just going to call my friends and they're just going to bazooka everyone. So I'm just waiting on a cue because you cannot call the police when you're dead.
No. No.
I missed it, sorry.
Yeah, I was supposed to give him the cue and he has said it sooner, so there will be one more guy spawning and one at a time instead of all of them together.
I mean, no, in this one it's 3 one after another, no?
No, it's 2 and after that, as soon as one is dead, the last one will spawn.
This game is deep. I've been playing maybe 450 or 500 hours and I still don't remember most of these little things.
So you see, it's one at a time instead of all of them together. And that's why it's so slow to have just not waited 3 seconds maybe.
Most of the different strategies in the game will just cost you 20 seconds if you miss them.
Yeah, exactly. So here it's pretty simple. On the right, PlamZ will just deal with him, and it will be pretty simple. And here I just deal with the basic enemy because it will be annoying, very annoying.
And there we go. He's got it. Oh, yes, he got it. Yep.
And that's why he has, instead of just running at me, he has run at my partner, and it ruined everything. So you have to keep track of everything, and with every boss there's an enemy annoying you, and you don't want to let them ruin your journey. And now we are at the boat. After the beach, we are at the boat. But the main thing is that, like you can see, it's laggy. Si tu veux pas call la police.
There we go.
Yep. And if we are good enough or lucky enough, mostly, the enemies will despawn if we keep the amount of enemies very, 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 very high. But It's not something that you can do easily. As you have seen, we have lost a lot of HP just trying to deal with them.
And also, some of them will spawn with just no knives. And while it just seems, oh, it's not that bad because you're just punching them over and over and they die, but they still have 2 more HP, so that's a little more that you have to deal with.
And here we're doing a little dancing because we have time. We have like 10 seconds to spare.
Usually we do the dancing here because on easy and normal, it's the only police.
Yeah, exactly.
It is because on this one, you just run straight through and basically just wait for the others to spawn. So...
and now there's the most passive guys in the game.
So yeah, some of the AIs, they're not all created equal. Some of them are passive, some of them are aggressive, some of them will try to hit player 1 only, some will try to be on player 2, and you're gonna know these things because you have to read their movement based on who they're gonna try to attack. So sometimes, if I see an enemy going around pad, I know that he's going to me, so Patrick knows that he can just go and attack this enemy, because the enemy will not try to attack him. So these are small strats that we have to implement in the game that just makes it a tiny bit better and saves a... So here I had to hit him to have the baseball bat removed, because it's horrible.
Yep.
And it's way better to be...
You can punch, you can remove the baseball bat, you need your partner to do so. And I've used the baseball bat in the first place because there was some ladies, when you hit them, they are crying.
Yeah,
and you see here
crying for a while, and then you can't do anything. You have to wait for them to stop crying, and then you can continue hitting them. So using the bat actually will not do this, as they're just gonna go straight to the ground because they've been hit by a baseball bat.
Exactly. So, and it will be almost the only times that you will see me use a weapon, except if we are lucky later, and I will use the knife. But in this difficulty, you don't use any weapons because your combo like that is just faster.
But on the other difficulties, which are easy and normal, the knife can one-shot all the basic enemies, especially in the earlier levels. So this is insane. You can just take the knife and go through without having to really hit anyone.
And now here there's so many enemies, so they are so slippery that we just call the police and still dance because we have time.
Yeah, this auto-scroll is time. So this is,
exactly.
I personally think that is the worst like sub-room to fight. There are 6 jacks. The jacks are the ones that throw things at you and juggle with items. 6 of them is horrible. They have the most HP of all the enemies. They have like crazy hurt boxes, crazy hit boxes. They do a lot of damages. You just want to use the police. So remember, if you're being purchased by someone juggling, use your friend to call bazooka attack. This is what Streets of Rage well tells us. I don't know why, but it looks like it works.
And
so yeah, as you can see, we would have to fight 6 of these, but with twice the HP, because this is the most basic jack that you can get.
And now we will fight again our lovely partner Abedidi. He likes to dance again, so let's just share a nice, lovely moment with him on a cruise ship. So you can do it, Blaze. You can do it. Good job. Good job. Yeah.
So now I'm gonna try to attempt this boss without using my hands. Okay, so you can see my hands here.
He is that good. He doesn't even need to play.
I'm actually going to drop the controller on the table for a second. So the reason that we're doing this, actually, it's not because he's just so good and that I'm useless. It's because it's actually faster that way. As you can see, he can hit both of the enemies at the same time, and since they're always in sync with him, he can just do this combo over and over. It looks easy, it's actually pretty hard, but he can just do this combo over and over until it's done. The other strategy that we could have used is we each get 1, but this is so hard to set up that we usually don't do it
exactly. And there's another strategy, but it's difficult with Axel because his reach of his punches. He doesn't move forward when he punches, so it's harder to grab them. And the timings are so different from characters to characters, so you have to keep track of that as well.
So right now, I'm staying behind him because I want all the enemies to be on him so that he can do this and just deal with all of them at the same time. And I'm gonna deal with this guy because this guy is gonna try to... As you can see, she starts crying right there. So I punched her. Oh, that was fast actually. She got up really fast. Sometimes she can be there for like 5 to 6 seconds. And as soon as you see one of these girls pop out, you have to take care of her in first. Otherwise, the substage will be very, very long.
So now we were seeing the lovely presses. So with against us, it will deals like few amount of HP. So but against the other enemies, you can actually just one-shot them. You have to set up something, but
it's pretty hard.
Yeah, they can die instantly. So
yeah, if you grab them by the back and then just wait for the press to squish them, you can have them die instantly. But if you grab them from the front, it won't work.
So now here we are at since stage 5, we have a few other bosses of other stages that we have to fight. Like here it's stage 4.
Yeah, they're not really
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after you.
Oh, thanks. No.
But you have to deal with everyone.
Yeah, you have to kick here because, as you can see, there's going to be a lot of enemies.
Dude, come on.
And I'm going to have to do the police as soon as we're going to see someone pop up from the left. There.
Exactly. So we are popping the police because there's 2 conveyor belts and it's very tricky to attack all of them in both ways. And that enemy on bottom left that I've just spawned just triggers the last 3 enemies that will come at us.
So there's no knives here.
Nope.
Usually you could have a knife and he would have been able to deal with these easier, but he's gonna have to go with the good old knee to the face trick. So in here, we tried to take care of some of the enemies first because, I mean, there's way too many of them. And as you can see, some of them are girls and jacks, which are, as you saw earlier, harder, have more HP. So we usually just want to take care of them first and then deal with the Garcias like these once we're done.
I know there will be a jungler here, we just ignore him and this guy as well. Tu peux l'appeler? Ah, tu peux pas. So here, since there's again at conveyor belts, it's tricky to just try to move forward and...
Yeah, as you can see, 3 jacks like that is if one of them gets out of stun lock, he shoots something at you and you die. Well, you don't die, but you lose the combo. So this is stage 6, which is usually one of the stages that not a lot of people like. As you can see, there's a lot of tricky things to do. We have to deal with environmental hazards and things like that. But the next stage...
I'm touring one, you're touring one. Pas trop de jambon. Anyway, à gauche.
So yeah, to get HP right now.
Yeah, exactly. So because since he is really low HP, I've just said go grab the turkey, man.
So as you can see, this girl will be crying, and you have to wait until she comes back.
Exactly.
And sometimes, yeah, as you can see, some enemies will only spawn once you deal with these. Sorry.
All good.
There we go.
You left.
Well, there you go.
Pay it back. Pay it. Oh no.
Pay it back. You're not gonna get it.
So here it's again those Wolverines. We are calling them Wolverines, but the little guy, you can see him struggling on the right, and he has a knife, so that's why he struggles. He wants to stab me in the face, but there's already someone here. So he's like hesitating, and he doesn't know.
And for those who are like, why is the Stage 6 boss the same as Stage 2 boss, but easier? The answer is, if you're playing single player, on the Stage 2 you have 1 of them, but you have to beat 2 of them alone on Stage 6, so it's quite horrible. So this stage, by the way, is the coolest of all stages. We're gonna have a lot of fun. A lot of throws, ourselves and the enemies.
So here, I wouldn't like this job as a janitor because there's a lot of people just not using the elevator. We will say it like that.
I mean, and right now, it looks pretty good. They have a chance of survival. It's only 3 or 4 floors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sub-stages. We're going to throw them from like 14th floor or 40th floor or later in the game, so later in the stage. So.
Exactly. So here we are just waiting and waiting until more enemies coming, and it's a fun day. It's like a Sunday visit.
It's like but yeah, basically the strat is just to throw them all. It's just way faster, especially on hardest, in which they have just an insane amount of HP. It takes a bit of time to just figure out. No, that is bad.
Oh damn! You got me.
Okay. What? Okay. See? Acrobatics.
Go there.
So I'm full now. So.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks. Boom. So. Yeah, it is a basic stage. There's not much to say about it other than we throw people off the stage. It's really our favorite stage because we get to just stalk and not really try to do improv. We can just throw people, and that's the. I think throwing people is the best part of this game.
I know we have just discovered a strat very today. I think.
Actually,
Yeah.
it was this morning. It's a new strat that saves about 5 or 10 seconds.
Exactly. So if both of us are turning our backs at them, they will just
Run to you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Instead of trying to be passive, these guys, but not all the guys, but these guys will run to you if you put your back to them in a specific fashion, only with the P1 being on the bottom.
yeah, exactly. Only the player one. So yeah.
Only player one on the bottom doing this.
To me à gauche. So yeah. So here it's another setup that we have just done today, I think,
Yeah.
to see that the lady here just is just spawning very fast instead of being passive, because player 1 is at this particular place and player 2 is at this particular place. It's very tricky that way, so. Droite. And those are the last two of the stage, and we are back to stage 8, and it's like Mega Man and I have a boss rush.
Yeah. So it's just like a boss rush, but then in a very long corridor, just like the hotels here, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like the hotel here, very long corridor that we're gonna go.
And our tables are often served like there. So someone just give us some food table, and we are politely declining them.
So here he gets most of the enemies because I'm basically used as a bait to make sure that the enemies don't hit him while he gets down there. Nice. That was really good. Okay. So you're gonna see pretty much all the same bosses in pretty much the same order, but they're gonna get a skin change. So we're gonna see some new colors on them. So
No, a table, no.
For those of you who thought that the bosses looked very slick, they're gonna get an upgrade. Get ready for this.
Boss. So here we will fight all of the 5 bosses. Ooh, and it starts very well.
It's a good thing because this boss, when you miss it, is way easier to get back into. But then I got hit too by the boomerang.
Yep.
But it's fine. Once you get the hit back, usually this boss is not much of a hassle.
So now we will see a nice jungler, and we don't want him to just ruin our day. So I will deal with him as soon as I can.
Then there's this one guy that's gonna spawn here as soon as Pat is gonna come up, and I'm gonna throw him.
Yep. And our tables will also again be served. So again, we don't need them.
Also, can I give a shout out to Mr. X, the boss? By the way, he's the CEO of the crime syndicate of the city. He's not using a firearm, right? All of his goons are doing it the old-fashioned way. Like, we have elevators. We definitely have firearms.
Exactly.
If we can call bazooka. So yeah, I think we are being unfair by using explosives and bazookas.
Sadly, since we're on stage 8, it's an hotel, it's not an elevator, a wooden boat or whatever. We can't use a rocket launcher or napalm as a police car.
It's extremely hard to call your police Lamborghini on the 14th floor of a gigantic building.
Exactly, so... Les deux doivent être sur toi. Celle-là. Yeah. Slider. So, this particular guy here, it's just sliding. All of the other ones are not sliding, and since a slider doesn't have a nade box as a slide, you have to eliminate him first, and he will remove all your grabs or your pivoting attacks. So that's why I've just gave him a Q, because I've not been able to reach the edge of the screen, so he had to deal with him. And now we are dancing again, because it's the day for this, right? It's almost the summer, so we have to practice our dance moves.
But then we have 3 screens left, and these screens are pretty hard. Actually, one of these screens is the boss from stage 5, which Cestpatou earlier did alone. But this time it's going to be in a slightly different setup. But if I'm not mistaken, that shouldn't be a problem in it.
Yeah, not like last time.
Yeah.
What?
The guy was fast? Okay. But again, he's just like the first level boss. If you get him like that, it's over.
So here it's just dealing with enemies before the twins again.
But the dealing with enemies, I think it looks pretty cool in this game. And I missed.
Yeah, because we can just throw ourselves into all of them.
So yeah, the ninjas, by the way, will one-shot you if you're not careful.
They can just kick you infinitely until you die. So we were already low HP, so it wasn't a big deal. But if we would have been full HP, they could have dealt with us, and it would not have been pleasant, especially not for the face. So now here, my assistant here will do everything.
Actually, for this one, I'm gonna have my hands on the controller because it looks pretty hard. But okay, they're in sync now. There we go.
So now it should be alright. I've been able to resync them, so... And with Blaze, it's not the same timing as by doing this trick. It's not the same with Adam as well, so you have to be careful with that. And she's not dead because she's a persistent one.
Also, on the last stage, you cannot see the amount of damage the enemies have, so you have to basically ballpark when you have to throw them.
So now it's the final room with Mr. X, and he just asked us politely that we need to consider an offer from him to become his right-hand man. But we will politely decline because we are gentlemen and we are ex-police officer. We don't need to be in a crime syndicate.
And the real reason we say no is because we have to do the game, half of the game back if we accept.
Yeah, exactly. So we are back to stage 6 and we have to fight all the way up here and fight Mr. X. We won't have a choice after that.
And then the final boss is coming up right here.
And here, if we don't mess up, it will be very easy boss. We are dancing with him again! Just like stage 3, so... It's all pretty simple. My partner here just deal with all the basic enemies and I'm just dancing with final boss because he likes me. You see that he has a smile on his face dancing with me.
I literally just have to mash X.
Exactly, so The third one is pretty almost over. The time is coming onto fading, so when the screen turns to black, and I will do a shortcut down. 3, 2, 1, time.
So
this is Streets of Rage on hardest.
Streets of Rage 1 on hardest co-op. So this is it.
I want to do a shout out for my partner Emil, PlamZ, and thanks you everyone. Thanks for NASA to have just
for hosting us.
Exactly.
It's in a nice venue in a nice city, and we're gonna have a lot of fun for the rest of the.
Thank you.
Thank you.